It was, I got through Thanksgiving and Christmas with my kids locally, and then worked with this counselor for 3 or 4 months. And then I ended up going to San Antonio mid 2012 to help my brother with my mom who was on hospice.
Mm.
And that was just an amazing experience. We had a rocky road, her and me, and it was a real time where I was able to just sacrifice for her and
Mm.
minister to her, even though half the time she didn't remember who I was. And, you know, even if when she did remember who I was, it was
Oh,
painful because, I mean, she wrote me out of the
yeah,
will. She wrote, it was
yeah.
I was not a daughter to be praised at all.
Well, again, you were on your journey and you were on your
Yep,
life, and she had her
yep,
thoughts, right? And I think that when it comes to age, it's almost, but especially when it comes to trauma, stress, anxiety, panic, all these things. Fortunately, this is something that I am having to work with as I'm getting older, is realizing that it's not as easy for me to keep that stuff figured out, because some of this stuff I'm never going to lose. Right. I had to come to
right,
terms with, and to your point about the whole idolatry conversation you had earlier, I agree that anything you obsess about is an idol,
yep,
right? If you're not obsessing about God, right, then it's probably an idol. But
yeah,
unfortunately, some of us have such challenges that we can't help it, because there's
right,
always physical things that are always distracting you, that are connected to these mental health challenges. And it's just real, right?
right,
And
right,
trying to find the place to, like, what can I do to get the balance restored in my life, so I'm not idolizing my mental health challenges, is key. And I say this not just for my own challenges at 48 years old, but for even for the kids that I teach at school, 16, 17 years old, that will go out of their way to tell me their challenges and their diagnoses. And then I'll tell them, oh, I appreciate you telling me that. Thank you. But the world does not care. Like, at some point, you have got to figure out the way to find success, because you're a baby. I do not want you to limit yourself in your journey because unfortunately you've been told it, or you do have at this young age these challenges. But then as I've gotten older and my body is changing on me, and like as my wife is going through her life, her roller coaster, and her body is changing, those are just real things, right?
right,
That your
right,
chemistry is getting thrown off and your hormones are getting thrown off. And oh, by the way, you got all this freaking trauma you still got to deal with, and you're not able to manage it as easily as maybe as you were before, when you were just gritting your teeth and locking it in. And so I think it's an interesting thing as we get older. And when you tell me about your mom and her maybe not remembering you, and then when she does remember you, the challenges. I was able to spend my dad's last week with him on this earth. He went to hospice. I flew in from Guam at the time, and I was fortunate to be there, and it didn't require longer than that, right?